In today's video, I'm going to be discussing target priority and watching a couple of examples from professional players to see who they jump and why, so that they can kill people fast and end the fights in a proper manner. But before I do that, I want to preface the video with some very important information. And no, this isn't just a sellout for gameleap, as you're very much used to. But what I want to say is that if you're playing a hero like Wraith King, or, you're a backline support, more often than not, your target priority is actually just to go on the first person you see, or to cast your low cooldown spells on them. If you're playing Wraith King, you want to stun the first person you see. If you're playing Grimstroke, very often you're simply going to cast your Q also on the first person you see. So if you don't know how bad you are at teamfighting, more often than not, what you want to look at is, am I casting my spells on the first person I see and targeting them? Because when you do that, it prevents you from overextending, it gets your spells on cooldown so you can use them multiple times in a fight, and it has a plethora of other benefits that I'm not going to cover right now. I also want to ask you guys a very important question. Do you want to know what's going inside the head of a 7k MMR player? Or, things that even 7k MMR players need to improve on? I recently coached a top 15 player, someone who reached top 15, I'm not kidding, literally top 15. I coached him and I posted that content over on the main gameleap website. If you want to see what I have to say about his gameplay and how I helped him improve in his Dota venture, go click the link down below. It's legitimately extremely cheap. I'm not kidding. It's like $8 a month. That's it. You go down below, click the link, and you're going to be able to get a ton of content. I mean, after all, what better do you have to do right now? I personally have nothing better to do besides create more content, and that's exactly what I'll be doing over there. So hopefully you guys check it out, and I'll see you there. Alright, let's hop into it with a 23 Savage Animage replay, and if you like Animage, like the video, because my boss is the YouTube algorithm, and I am going poor out here. I'm stuck in the EU region, and I can't stand playing with the Russians. I really can't. I thought you guys were over-exaggerating it. I'm pretty sure at this point, I've given up. I don't want to play with them ever again. Why do you talk so much? I can't read that language. I can't. Alright, but actually getting into it now. We have a 23 Savage laning stage example, and this is important because a lot of people disregard the laning stage target priority, and they're like, oh, target priority only applies to mid and late game teamfights. Not true. Let's look at a great example here that allows him to get key damage and basically win the lane later on. So he's laning with the Lich. Him and the Lich go on this Rubik here. This is already, right off the bat, fantastic target priority, as the Rubik walked in a range of Lich's Q. A lot of people don't look at this. In the laning stage, if you want to win trades, you are looking for 2v1 scenarios. 2v1 scenarios. How do we create 2v1 scenarios? Well, Blink and Lich Slow is a great example. Following that up here, right after they go on the Rubik, he eventually gets lifted here. Great lift by the Rubik. And most people, I guarantee it, most animages would be like, kill the Rubik, get him. And they would keep chasing the Rubik. But because 23 Savage is an experienced young man, what he does is he immediately switches over to the Death Prophet, who accidentally, or mistakenly I should say, walks into melee range of the Animage. He understands that his Blink cooldown would not allow him to get the Rubik kill, so he immediately switches onto the Death Prophet. I even in fact believe that Lich doesn't do this as fast. Lich isn't as fast to do this. Lich eventually does, right, realizing that this is the better target. It is a high MR game after all. And because of this, they're able to burn all of DP's mana. They don't unfortunately get either of the kills. However, all mana is burnt. That was one of the best trades I've ever seen in a laning stage, and it really comes down to the fact that he didn't tunnel vision on the Rubik. Alright, so let's get into the first mid-game target priority example. So he's playing AM, pretty farmed, got a Manta at 22 minutes, and the enemy team is pushing his high ground. Now he has a lot of options here, which is really why I like this fight. He can see the Oracle, he can see the Rubik, the DP, the TA. How do you know who to jump? Well, first off, he's going to click on the DP, and if you're an Animage player, you know to do this. Now, there are a few heroes that have kind of weird examples that determine your target priority. Obviously, Animage is one of them, and in this case, he knows that the DP is missing over 1,000 mana. And it makes the perfect decision here, because he sees that the Oracle committed the W. This is very important because if Oracle is a good player and sees the Animage ulti coming, he can negate all the damage on the core. So he sees that the W has been committed, blinks on the DP, not overcommitting, right? Doesn't blink in front because he doesn't want to overcommit. He doesn't want to get lifted into the gyro or overextend onto the TA. So a good blink to prevent that. Goes on the DP, waits for the silence, pops the Manta, gets a good ulti off, and secures the kill. Following that, he sees that the TA is getting hardcore target priority and manages to eventually jump her later on here. I think he assumed that she was very close to death and wanted to secure it. Now, this is a weird decision because a lot of the time you would want to jump the next support. You kill the next easiest target. But here, TA is low and can be finished off. Unfortunately, the Rubik makes a god play and he ends up dying for it, but I think overall this fight is a really good example of when to jump cores and not supports. He can kill the cores, and usually you can't. So if you can kill cores, they're the best to jump usually, but if you can't, usually you want to go for supports, and we'll see that later on. Alright, and this is going to be the second and last example for at least 23 Savage's Anti-Mage. This is a beautiful display of target priority, and let's check out what he does. So he went for the Bounty Rune and sees the Death Prophet. He has an Arcane Rune and an Abyssal Blade, so it's a good time to go for a kill. The DP ends up walking into him, and he unfortunately doesn't have Ultimate the Burster, and the TA is going on him, so he understands he has to disengage. Right, TA versus Anti-Mage is not too good for Anti-Mage, at least until you get, I would say, a Butterfly. Right now it's alright if TA doesn't have BKB, but he has to disengage for now. So he does that, but he understands that the DP is getting away and doesn't lose focus, right? This is a big thing here. He can basically keep his vision in multiple parts of the camera. He isn't just looking at his hero, which is important. And because of that, he's able to blink forward, actually in front of her, which is a great blink, and secures the kill. Once again, he has to disengage here. Target priority also means when you have to back off. I want to teach you this as well. The Oracle's here, the Rubik's in the back, TA's in front of him, why not just hit the Oracle? Because then he can get lifted and die. So he understands that the people behind him who he doesn't see are just as much of a threat. So he backs up and hits the TA to stay close to his team. Now eventually he understands that the Rubik is way too close, doesn't want to get lifted with the follow-up of the gyrocopter, so he backs off. But that's not all, folks. Moving back in, the rocket that is going to hit the gyro is going to give him an opportunity to jump in here. He saw the Oracle on the right, and using this vision, he's going to get on top of him. Now I think he makes a bit of a mistake not committing the Abyssal early enough, and not ulting early. I think maybe he didn't expect the Glimmer Cape to come out, bit of a mistake. Regardless, he Abyssal Blades the Rubik, understanding that that is the easiest of the two kills. Secures the support, gyro pops the BKB, which is a good reason why you might not want to Abyssal him there, because he has a BKB and an Oracle behind him still. Then, obviously, he's going to stay on the gyro. You do not want to jump an Oracle here. Let's be clear. Same reason why he hit the TA earlier. Do not overextend. This is a key in Dota. Even though they are hardcore winning the fight, you still do not want to overextend. Why not jump this guy here? Because the TA is close by, and it would give him an opportunity to throw the fight. So instead, he focuses down the gyrocopter, secures the kill, and wins them the fight. Alright, so next up we're going to be following a Boxy Centaur game, and he's doing pretty well right now. As you can see, the enemy Phantom Lancer and PL are both level 6. Yes, this is a very high-ranked MMR match. I'm not really sure what's going on, but he has some really good target priority in this fight. So right off the bat, I genuinely like the fact that he's sort of zoning the enemy team off the tower. This is what they were trying to get, the tower, and it's actually his major priority. A lot of people think that kills are more important than a tower. I would beg to differ. Towers are absolutely crucial in Dota, and unfortunately he wasn't able to secure it, but we'll move on. So right off the bat, they're going to go on the PL. Why? Because it's the first person they can reach, and generally that's what you do in Dota. Do not overextend, kill the first person you see. So yeah, after casting all of his spells and doing a good job of attack moving, he's able to eventually pick up the Phantom Lancer kill. Moving on from there, you would expect him to immediately chase the Mars, right? And that's what he does for the first second. He's going to look for the Mars kill, but unfortunately the Mars pushes him back, slows him, and disengages. So, who is the kill here? The Mars or the Anti-Mage? The reason why the Anti-Mage is the kill is because he is going to overcommit for the Rubik, and you want to protect your teammate as a hero like Centaur, right? Whenever you're ahead, you should often protect your supports, instead of chasing a Mars who is really fast with phase boots. And that's exactly what we see. With the high damage from Taliate, he's able to pick up the Anti-Mage kill after the cart and the ranged creep slaughter him, and then finally moving on to secure the last kill of the fight, which is going to be onto the Mars. Absolutely perfect. In this next fight, we're going to see Boxy do a really good job of zoning out the support and choosing targets that his teammates can kill. And whenever you're playing a stunner, it's very important to understand that your primary target is to stun the people that your team can follow up on. Yes, you're trying to stun the people that your team can follow up on. So if you're playing Earthshaker and you Echo Slam the backline, but there's no follow-up, it's not a good Echo unless obviously you're killing them all. And now theoretically, if you hit a 3-man Echo Slam, it's a good fight. I know this is just an example, but basically if you're playing a stunner, stun the people your team can go on. And that's what we see here. The Rubik lifts up the Mars, he follows it up, even though the Mars is brutally out of position because the Morphling can get the kill. Moving on from there, he's going to stampede his team away, and goes on the Winter Wyvern to prevent the Winter Wyvern from getting off a really good Winter's Curse. Moving on from there, he's going to have to disengage as the TA shifts over and goes for a stomp onto the TA. Now, Frankly, I think this is a bit of miscommunication because the TA maybe could get her Aegis popped here by the Morphling and the Centaur. However, I think the Morphling's idea is, okay, TA has Aegis, she's not a target, which I can respect. And eventually Boxy figures that out as well because, seeing that the Morphling disengages, he does so as well. But that's not all, folks. He's gonna go off to the side because he understands that his job here is not actually to tank the front line, as his team is not dying right now. He doesn't have to protect anyone, especially if he's just gonna get his mana burn by a PL. So instead, he waits on the outside, finds that the PL is finally a killable target by his Morphling, jumps in, secures the kill, and that's the end of the Phantom Lancer. And so yeah, really the main thing I want you to learn about that is whenever you're playing an Initiator, make sure your team can follow up on your stuns, otherwise it's a bad stun. It's the same reason why I don't want you diving high ground. Your supports cannot back you up if you dive into their tier 4s, and your cores probably can't help either. Alright, and the last example I have, well, actually I have two for this hero, but the first example of the last hero is a great fight with Dark Willow. So we're going to be watching King R on the Dark Willow here, and I really like his execution and attention to detail in this fight. So the Bounty Hunter BKB is getting gone on, obviously he's out of position, so this is currently what your main attention is on. However, it's very important to note that he has to pay attention to what's going on around him. He doesn't tunnel vision on the Bounty Hunter, and he realizes that his Grimstroke gets jumped by a Riki. Because of this, right, he's able to get off the E, the stun, and Yule's combo onto the Riki as well as the root, securing the kill into the Riki a bit later on. And a lot of supports might be like, of course, speed. But would you do that in game? You have to really pay attention to the fact that you're probably not paying attention to the heroes that are jumping your backline. Maybe you're not saving your supports enough. And this is a really big deal in Dota, because it keeps the Grimstroke alive and gets a key kill onto the Riki. Moving forward, once again, I really want to stress the point that on a support, you generally want to go on the first person you see, as long as your abilities will have an impact. If this Bounty Hunter currently has, right, his BKB available, which we know he doesn't from the previous engagement, and King R knows as well, he shouldn't cast all of his spells onto the Bounty unless he's trying to force the BKB in back, which would be a dangerous option if the enemy team is all behind him, because then you would have no spells for the fight. Moving on though, the Bounty Hunter is here, right? He's trying not to overextend, not chasing the Bounty past the river, staying behind his Mars, doesn't want to overextend, Bounty goes a little bit too far up, sets up with the Yule's combo. And then following the Yule's combo, the Mars is going to be able to get the spear, he's able to kite out to the back, keeping himself in a very safe position where they can get the kill. This is overall the best possible scenario because he's able to secure a kill with his Bedlam, which can be a very hard spell to use as it puts you in the front lines, but because of the setup that he got into the Bounty and the Mars Spear, he gets a kill and stays alive. Following that, he doesn't end up killing anyone else, but I want to show you his positioning. He kites away from the DP, sees the Void Spirit here, so he continues to basically kite away from the enemy heroes that threaten him. Eventually he realizes that this is a beneficial fight and looks for more kills, but everyone is gone. So just a great fight from King R. Alright, and for the last example of the video, we have just great reactions, and I want to give a tip here. I know a lot of you probably have left already, so thank you for staying, anyone who has, and if you can also like the video, I would appreciate it. But getting into this example, the tip I want to give you is that you must make sure you understand what order of spells you're going to cast when getting into the fight. And also, on top of that, you need to know what heroes cause you to make differences in your spellcasting, right? So here, he sees the Riki, and he understands that if he goes on the Riki with just his E like you usually would, right? If he starts with the E and doesn't use the Riki, he's not going to get the kill. So instead, he goes for the E and then he Yules. Now, this is the basic Dark Willow combo, so generally you do this on most heroes to keep them in place, but if he doesn't do this, he's not going to be able to set up for his Q, which sets up for a situation where the Riki cannot use Blink Strike or his Tricks of the Trade. And because of this, he's able to get the stun onto the Riki as well as the root, and follows it up with his Bedlam to secure the kill. Moving on from there, the fight continues, and you're going to notice he wanted to go for an E onto the Bounty. Unfortunately, Bounty still has him tracked, and therefore he's not able to get it off. Did want to kite away just in case the Bounty would kill him. Following on from there, once again, looking for the nearest target to cast his Cursed Crown on. And the Cuddle decided to walk up there, so he goes for the E, eventually securing a kill. Unfortunately, the Bounty got in the way, so he decided to switch to the Bounty, and this is the key to target priority. You go for the easiest target possible, and then if someone threatens you, you react, back off, and reset. It's kind of like a continuation of that pattern over and over again to be a good support player. But thank you guys so much for watching for this target priority video. I hope you guys learned a lot about who you should be trying to kill and when you need to kite out. This is a very complex topic in Dota, so it wouldn't surprise me if you're a bit confused or you don't really get what I'm saying perfectly yet. But remember, this takes time, and a lot of what the pros do is intuition, but hopefully I can speed up the process for you, get it? And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Peace. And hey guys, remember, before you end this video, in the link down below, I've been playing a lot of live games where I talk about my thoughts in real time in the middle of a Dota match. So if you want to get in the head of a pro player, click the link down below to the gameleap website. Super cheap right now, right? Like, and I'm doing this a ton. We all have time on our hands. I have time to make content. You guys probably have time to enjoy and learn Dota, get better at the game. So yeah, if that combo works for you, click the link down below, and I'll see you there.